Jay here for Stretford, Paddock. Manchester United 3, Liverpool 2. United through to the 5th round of the FA Cup. Joining me is, as always, Joe Smith. We've just about got our voices left from screaming in excitement at that win. The thumbnail says big game performance from Bruno Fernandes. But there was a lot of big game performances out there today, weren't there? Bruno, Rashford, Mason as well stepped up. Paul Pogba got man of the match. Edinson Cavani came very close to making it 4-2. Just sum it up, Joe, your feelings after that game. Put it into words for me.
It was a bit scrappy, wasn't it? And there were times when we looked scared, and the fact that we haven't won a game against a big team this season, I think it showed a little bit, especially after our second goal. After our first goal, sorry. No, the second one, I can't even think.
I would argue, though, that Villa are a bigger team than City, but I know what you mean. Go on.
After United's second goal, where Rashford scored, you think, right, let's push on now. 2-1 up, let's go for it. We sat back, mistakes started creeping in. We looked nervous, we looked scared, and what it took to just tip us over the edge, to have that final, that turn, that kind of, you know what, we're not going to let you have all the ball, we're going to have the ball, we're the one that's going to be creating, and it was bringing Bruno Fernandes on. And people, you talk about big game players, and there's a myth that he doesn't do it against the top teams, which, depending on your assessment of who the top teams are, because it certainly isn't the best teams in England this season, it's teams that were good 15 years ago. There's been this rumour going around that he's not been very good in those games. Like, he's just won us a game against Liverpool. It doesn't get any bigger than that. With a brilliant free kick as well. He created another couple of chances when he came on. The one for Cavani was a sensational cross. He completely changed the flow of the game. I think there's 78% possession they had in the 10 minutes before he came on. And then he comes on, wins us the game. In the last 10 minutes, did they even create anything? The few chip balls over to the back, a few shots hit wide here and there. But the game completely changed. We went from sitting back, underdogs, scared, repeating patterns of not being able to close out these big games, and then all of a sudden he comes on, he wins us the game, and essentially stopped Liverpool creating really anything, just with the way he drove the team forward. Sensational by Bruno, and it wasn't just him, like you said. Rashford was excellent in the first half. Greenwood was excellent in the first half. Paul Pogba, I think, wasn't great in the first half, but was excellent in the second half. A few mistakes here and there. Luke Shaw made maybe a couple of mistakes for the goals where you kind of think he got to be closer to Salah. Maguire didn't have his best game, I don't think, today. McTominay couldn't stop giving the ball away. But overall, it was a deserved win and much improved performance over the game last weekend. It was 0-0 last week. And you see the difference today. Two just completely opposite games. Free-flowing from both teams, counter-attack after counter-attack, chances, shots on target, hitting the post, balls just wide, penalty shouts, all these things going on. Last week was soft and slow and turgid and nothing happened. Completely different game, and I think at the minute with United, we're much improved, but you only get one. You only either get the free-flowing, attacking, possession football, I say possession, it was 50-50 possession, or you get really good defending. And I think you kind of have to pick and choose. Last week we went for defending over everything else. This week we went a little bit more expansive, and it paid off. And it's nice to see us winning like that, where you go after them and you make chances and you put pressure on them and you capitalise on the fact that they've got a massively depleted squad, or certainly defence. The rest of the squad is full strength. But the centre-back area, Reece Williams today, and we went after him, and it was scary but brilliant.
Guys, exactly. Scary but brilliant. Guys, do get involved in the comments. Do hit like as well if you're not hitting like. We will get through some of your comments. Sahil Mishra on the Super Chat says, Jay, loved your tweet about the PE teacher. Yeah, I did a tweet about taking a piss, because obviously Ollie's always taking a lot of grief. People calling him the Norwegian PE teacher. Big game for him as well, because despite the fact we're top of the league, you always get the sense that there's a certain agenda against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and they're waiting for any bad result, some people, any sort of chink in the armoury to go, oh, he's not the right man for the job, to start laying any blame at his door, sort of saying that he's out of his depth and all this other nonsense that we've heard ever since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took over. What did you make of his tactics today? Not just the way he set up and the way he approached the game, but the changes he made as well, because he brought on, as you mentioned, Bruno Fernandes. He brought on as well
Martial
came on later for Rashford. I think Rashford's having a scan on his knee, by the way. Anyone worrying about what's up with Marcus Rashford? That was a tactical change. He brought on Fred as well. So he made some changes. What did you make of Ollie's performance?
Well, I mean, again, we got a chance to rotate. We gave Bruno a rest, which I know he ended up playing 25 minutes, but it's, physically in terms of fatigue, it's better than him playing 90 minutes. We handled things pretty well. The one thing I did worry about first half, and I know Pogba got man of the match for match of the day, and I don't think he was bad. I'm not trying to blame Paul Pogba for anything, because his second half, like I said, he was excellent. But him and McTominay, as Fred and McTominay did before last week, we kept giving the ball away. They press well, so you're going to give the ball away a lot against Liverpool because they do press very well. But we kept giving the ball away. And I think, Solskjaer saw that after we got our second goal, we allowed them back in the game. Couple of mistakes, goal goes in, it's 2-2. And from there, it's easy to sit here now in 3-2, well, Bruno won us the game. But at that point when it was 2-2, that could have easily gone the other way. They, like I said, had a period where they had about 78% possession. They were making all the chances, it only looked like Liverpool were going to score. And then we switch out the midfield. We bring Fred on for a bit more industry in there. We bring Bruno Fernandes on as well, who obviously can do pretty much anything with the football. And that's no offence to Van der Beek, who I thought played okay. He didn't do too much, but he linked things together nicely. But the timing of those substitutions was so crucial. And then you bring Martial on as well later on. But yeah, I just think it was good. It was good from Solskjaer, and we got to rest him a little bit. But yeah, it was good to see the substitutes paying off, and obviously the goal went in at the end, and you can't blame anyone. You can't give credit to anyone except Bruno Fernandes.
Guys, do get involved in the chat as well. We've got a couple of super chats. Adam Eric here says it'll get slightly obscured because we won, but Shaw was very poor defending today. Was decent going forward, but repeating same mistakes defending. Now, there was quite a lot of praise for Luke Shaw on social media. At halftime, I saw it, a lot of praise. I was getting messages about how well he'd done. Me and you and Andy Tate on the watch along were pointing out that while he'd been playing well going forward, you can look at him for the first goal, for Salah's goal, because he can see the run from Salah. And yes, Lindelof should be looking over his shoulder and doing better, but as well, I thought Shaw can see that he's going to run through and doesn't go with him. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, I felt, from Luke Shaw.
Yeah, definitely a mixed bag. I really appreciate, and I'm very happy, not just for him, but I am happy for him, but for us as United fans, we get to watch him doing a lot more going forward at the moment. He's attacking more, he's overlapping, he's doing all those sorts of things where a couple of seasons ago, or maybe one season ago, he wasn't doing it. He really seems to have the bit between his teeth going forward. It's almost though Tellers has come in and everyone's gone, Tellers is really good going forward. And Luke Shaw's gone, well, I'm pretty good going forward. And he's actually trying. Now, what you can do is improve at that end, but what he also has to do is improve at the other end. And the other, or maybe it's the transition between the two that he struggles with, because he was very good against Salah the other night, last week at Anfield. He played very well against Salah, stopped him creating almost anything. But tonight, like I said, Salah's in front of him. The player's got the ball there. Salah's in front of me, and I'm defending Mo Salah. Yeah. You're Lindelof. He goes in between the two of us. Track his run.
You got him.
I can see him.
Yeah, 100%.
To the point where Mo Salah, the ball was played through. No one was even contesting his shot.
No.
There was no tackle. There was no late slide. There was no attempt at a block. There was nothing. And if you're a left back, Mo Salah is your man.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. He's the right winger. You're the left back. You have to track that run. And he didn't track the run, and he has to improve at that. And you can blame Lindelof, and he's a bit, for me, it's 75-25 in terms of blame. 75 Shaw, 25 for Lindelof, because you know what? Lindelof could have done better as well. But like you said, Luke Shaw is looking across the line.
Yeah.
Mo Salah is in front of him.
Yeah.
You have to be goal side, or
100%.
at least level.
Yeah.
Ollie said it the other day when they conceded the goal. We conceded the goal against Fulham. He said we don't play offsides. We're not trying to catch players offside. We don't play an offside press. We don't do that. So you're not going to get told off for keeping him onside if you stay with him.
Yeah.
But what you can't do is let him run through and put the ball in the back of the net. And again, it's not the worst mistake in the world. It's not some of the mistakes we've seen from some of our defenders this season. But again, it just needs to improve, because luckily, again, our attack managed to bail us out. But we're not always going to get that. And for the second one, I do think, again, Salah got in front of him, and I need to sit back. I need to watch that one back.
Because when we were watching it, we were watching a replay, and then it went to the live action, and then it was like Salah was just scoring a second. We're going to get into some of the super chats.
I'll get to those in a second. Carry on with what you're saying about Shaw.
Sorry. But so I need to see that again. Luke Shaw has been much better recently, and I was saying before the game that I don't think he's reached the levels he was at before his injury, which was, it feels like a lifetime ago when it was like 5 years ago, whatever it was, 5.5, 6 years ago. He's not quite at that level yet. Going forward, he almost is, but defensively, there's still these little frailties. There still seems to be this nervousness at times across our defence almost. And, Luke Shaw's an experienced defender.
Yeah.
He isn't a kid. He's not 18. This is a guy who's been playing in the Premier League now for, 7 seasons? He's been at Manchester United for the last 7. Well, sorry, been playing in the Premier League, I think, for about 7, 8 seasons. Been at United for about 6 or 7 of those years. Okay, he was injured for a year, but he's still got a lot of experience. He's an England international, played a lot of football. He should know the basics, and he knows that Mo Salah operates between those 2 lines. He operates between the full-back and the centre-back. He's not a winger, and he's not a centre-forward. He's in between. Yeah. So you've got to be aware of that. And as you said, he's over on your side. You've got to pick him up. And if you see him, I mentioned the Fulham game where Eric Bailly could see the lad who scored for Fulham. I forget his name, forgive me. Was it Lookman?
It may have been Lookman.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. It was dangerous anyway. Yeah. But
he ran, and people going, well, Maguire should be looking over his shoulder. And all right, there's an element of that. But if you're buying, you can see it, you go to him. I think it was Rio who pointed that out on BT Sport, whatever it was. And it felt the same today. Shaw can see that danger. You can see it. It's fucking going on in front of you. Do something about it.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't a terrible performance from him by any means, but yeah, I think if you're going to be pointing a bit of blame at anyone, I think Shaw could have stayed with his man. We've got quite a few super chats. Keep them coming in, but we'll get to all of them. Zachary Purvis has said, this felt like prime United under Fergie. Bruno reminds me of Rooney in that 9.5 role. Love seeing us back at our best. One complaint, no youth on the bench.
Well, you mean we can say that, but Mason Greenwood started and scored.
Yeah,
and let's not forget,
Rashford.
Mason Greenwood's still a teenager. Pogba, yeah, technicality.
Yeah.
He's still a teenager.
Yeah.
He's still a kid. He just happens to be a kid who's very, very good at football. Yeah. But he's an academy product who's in the first team and he's scoring and playing well for the first team. So, yes, I get where you're coming from because I would have liked to have seen, I don't know, Ted Mengi or whoever. But horses for courses, isn't it? Yeah. You're not just going to throw a kid in just to, we don't need to do that to fill our quota of always having a youngster in the squad.
Peter Kelly with the super chat. Inject Bruno's goal into my veins. Ian Wright's tears are as good as the ones we're going to hear from Klopp later on. It's a shame that we
just mention about Ian Wright because I've seen a lot on socials about Ian Wright saying it wasn't a free kick. Now, forgive me if I'm wrong, but this is what all my timeline when I briefly jumped onto Twitter to say was Ian Wright saying the free kick at the end where Cavani got kneed in the back of his leg by Fabinho wasn't a free kick. Now, if he has said that, then I don't know what he's been smoking because to me it looked like a clear free kick.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he's upset, then I don't know why he's upset. He's not got an affiliation with Liverpool. What's up with him?
Tarcio has said Fred Cameo made a difference in dynamics and energy. Bruno's world class, absolutely. Rashi's great. Hope the injury isn't bad. Cup is a possible achievement. It is a possible achievement. The Rashford thing is a bit of a worry because Ollie was asked about Rashford at the end and we saw him walk straight down the tunnel. He said it's a complaint with his knee. He's going to be getting a scan tomorrow. Now, even minor knee injuries can be a couple of months. So obviously we hope that it's nothing serious and it is maybe just a tweak or a knock or something, but that's definitely one to watch out for. And yeah, let's not even get into that now. We'll worry about that tomorrow.
Let's look at what we know about Marcus Rashford.
What did he do today?
And Marcus Rashford played almost as good as I've seen him in a red shirt for a lot of that game. Not completely, but he was fucking outstanding at parts as well. That ball for Mason Greenwood's for goal is as good a passage you're ever going to see. It was fucking brilliant. Do you know what I mean? And yes, Mason does well because he chests it down and he rifles it home. So it's not like it was a tap-in for him, but it was a fantastic ball. And also for the goal, one of the criticisms levelled at Marcus Rashford is that he needs 5 chances to score a goal. Now, I used to say that about Andy Cole. People used to say exactly the same thing, and he had a decent career, didn't he? So, I'm not so overly concerned if he needs a few chances as long as he's scoring and taking his chances when he gets them, or scoring goals, tonight, he got 1 chance and scored.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and he did everything right about that finish. Kept it low. There was enough pace on it to take it past Alisson, who got a hand to it.
Who knew which way it was going. It had to be perfect to go in.
It did. He had to kept it low. Enough pace on it so that the power on it, so there wasn't... Alisson couldn't keep it out. Fantastic finish. Timed his run as well perfectly. Yeah, because he gets caught offside too many times, and I'll admit that. Timed his run perfectly. Great performance, great assist, great goal, and we pray for Marcus.
Yes, exactly. Liam Daniger, or Deny maybe, in the comments says, commentary was awful, biased, and sometimes wrong. We don't get to hear the commentary.
And neither should you. Turn it off and listen to us on a watch along. It's much better. We're biased, but we're the other way.
Yeah, exactly. Emil K said, other than giving the ball away for Liverpool's second goal, I think Cavani had an excellent game, pressed really well, and almost got a goal. He did press really well. The header was a brilliant move. Again, Bruno Fernandes showing his quality, just a chip ball to the back post. And when's the last? I think since Zlatan, maybe. Lukaku was good in there too, but rising up, great form,
hanging in the air,
back across goal, and it was a matter of inches away from making it 4-2. But yeah, I thought he played really well. And let's not compare or make this that, and he does this, he can't do that. I thought it was a very good centre forward performance from Cavani.
100%. Yeah. Okay.
It was lazy and shit.
Yeah, there was shit for the one ball, but he had a hand in the second goal. I think he wins the ball in the midfield.
He won the foul as well.
He won the foul,
for the third goal.
Wins the foul for the third goal. Does the things as well that our other attackers don't do necessarily. Like you're saying, the header. Is Anthony Martial on the end of that header? I'm not so sure he is. Is he even Marcus or someone? Probably not. He has that sort of poacher's instinct. He also absolutely defends from the front. So when you're up against a team like Liverpool, he was non-stop. Me and Andy Tate were saying on the watch along, it reminded us a bit of Tevez in 2008. He was just snarling and getting and biting at the heels, and maybe that's a little bit why he buys the foul, because you get rattled by that. Do you know what I mean? As a defender, and you think, you're sticking a foot in. And let's have it right. The fact that they're moaning about decisions, Liverpool fans and pundits, is a fucking disgrace.
Thiago should have been on a yellow card for about 8 minutes.
Thiago should have been on a yellow card.
And in the last game, he should have got a yellow card as well.
Exactly. Fabinho got a yellow and maybe could have had a second yellow for the foul and been sent off. Do you know what I mean? They got away with so many little bitty fouls as well, where there was one on Marcus, actually. It wasn't even that bitty. I think he was like almost like a 2-footed lunge, or he's not 2-footed, 1-footed lunge, but he's off the ground, where he catches his ankle. It's a yellow all day long and he didn't get one. So I don't know what to moan about. They got beat by a better team. Klopp got beat by a better manager. Deal with it.
Yeah. Bojan Popov, great partnership between Mason and Rashford today for the first and second goal. Cavani was pivotal in the number 9 role. Yeah, just like we said before, it was lovely seeing them link up together, wasn't it? Another super chat from Tyler Hale. Pogba was fantastic. His tackle to win the ball back at the top of our 18-yard box started the counter for Greenwood's goal. Pogba did a lot of very good things. Again, as we said, a few times he got pressed well. You have to say it was good by Liverpool, but a couple of times you just think, get rid of it quicker, because he got fouled a couple of times, rightly so, but that continued, didn't it, where they pressed him and they almost won the ball back. But yeah, second half especially, very good. Ross Murphy with the super chat as well. I love watching this team. We're playing some good football. We do need new additions, right winger, CDM, etc. I hope we get them this window. Fingers crossed. I would love it if we did.
Love it if we beat them. Just love it. I love it if we got CDM.
I'd love it if we bought them.
He's got to go to La Liga. And get something out of that.
Yeah, he's got to go to La Liga and get something out of that. A young, sensitive.
When you say things like he said about Stuart Pearce, he went down in my estimation.
Abdullah Ibrahim with a super chat. He said 28 goals in 51 matches, more open play goals than penalties, more assists in the team, and they still call him Fernandes. Oppo fans need to understand and acknowledge his quality. Portuguese magnifico. Couldn't agree more. I was expecting the hop on that free kick. It was it was just a big penalty, wasn't it? Free kicks are just big penalties.
It's like, placed it with power.
Brilliant.
To the goalkeeper's side as well, to Alisson, who's not exactly shit.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Do you know what I mean? And you have that now, that belief with Bruno, whether it's a penalty, it's a free kick, when he's got the ball and he's around the box, you think something's going to happen, because invariably it does. And we've missed that. We've missed that at United. Almost post-Fergie. We've never quite had that level of player who's got that ability to just create something out of nothing. Matt has sort of done it now and again. We had Zlatan, who was more better at getting on the end of things and actually creating something out of nothing.
Pogba at times.
But now it feels like we've got a real world beater. We've got someone who is actually world class, no debate, no fucking about. Get him on the ball and he makes things happen. Came on tonight. And you can see it, Liverpool players, you're thinking, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? You're in this game, it's 2-0, and they bring on, United bring on Bruno Fernandes. It must be a nightmare.
Yeah, and again, this whole thing of like, he's not that good, We've noticed he's not that good. And I think Mane is a great player, and I think everyone would agree Mane is a great player. He's not really done anything in recent times when we played against him. So it's just like, it's not always the case that just because you're good, you score in every single game. The fact that that's the standard he's being held to is a testament to his quality rather than anyone at home's ability to notice something that no one else is. Marios JRK with the super chat as well. A lot of our defensive issues, is stem from the defensive midfielder for me. We need a proper number 6 who actually shows for the ball. McTominay always hides in possession. I agree, not necessarily with it being McTominay's fault in particular, but I agree with the fact that a more comprehensive defensive midfielder, the likes of Nemanja Matic, the likes of Kante in his prime, would make a huge difference to this team, because when Matic is on the ball and when he's having one of his good days, it's like going to visit your nan in the home, isn't it? She was having one of her bad days today. It's like when he's having one of his good days
and bad.
Yeah, more good than bad, but still. No, when Matic has one of his good days and on the ball, it's weird because he's big and he's a bit lanky, and you'd think he'd be the one that gets pressed and gets the ball taken off him. He's brilliant on the ball. Yeah. He rarely gives it away. He turns away from pressing very well, and he's a good passer of the ball as well. And if we could have someone like him, but younger, that could play every week, I think we would go from being difficult to beat to being like
unbeatable.
Not unbeatable, but like
say it, Joe.
A real problem for everyone in Europe, let alone in England.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it. And I agree. A right winger and a defensive midfielder would be massive. Got a couple of quotes from the game. Didn't get to see anyone who's watching the BBC coverage of the game. There were no quotes or post-match or anything because basically went straight to, well, I think we saw one from Ollie, but we didn't see much from Klopp.
Was it songs of praise or something?
Yeah,
that
they had to cut off very quickly. Barely even
Country
got replays.
Files there, Alex Baggers has just informed me. Do you know what? That's just typical fucking Scouts loving it on the BBC. I bet if they'd have won, you'd have had a 2-hour post-match analysis with all the old fucking favourites coming on. And I've just been informed as well from Cam on producer. It was the same for Chelsea.
Yeah, no, and of course, Countryfile isn't an insult, is it? As though it sounds like it.
Listen, Countryfile
not someone who has sex with a bush.
It's genuinely in my top 10 countryside programmes on the BBC.
Is it? Good.
Yeah, so I'm not knocking Countryfile. I just want to see Klopp crying into the camera about the length of the grass, the cold weather, the linesman, the wind, whatever. Some sort of excuse he's got for the fact that his team aren't as good as ours.
You're a Countryfile, mate.
Thank you. Oh, was that an insult?
Yeah, it is.
Why?
Because you have sex with bushes and that. I'm happy because we win. This
Unfounded.
is Bruno Fernandes. It's important. Yeah, the CCTV footage is inconclusive. It's important for us to go into the next round, and I think it doesn't matter who scores. If I score, I'm happy for sure. I think we played well. I love it when they say that. If whoever scores, it doesn't matter to me. About 2 weeks ago, he was saying, I want to get as many goals and assists as games. It matters to him, and it's great that it matters to him, isn't it?
Of course it is, and I think he's got. I know he's compared to Ronaldo, but most of it's in jest. But he has that element about it. I know he's saying the right things there, but there is an element of him. He wants to score. He wants to take all the free kicks and the penalties, and he wants to be, the main man, and rightly so. Because he's come into this team and he's just dominated it.
Yeah.
He's sort of, he said, right, I am the main man. Mm-hmm. And you remember that first game against Wolves, his debut. Because I didn't know a lot about Bruno Fernandes, only statistics. I'd not seen it. I'd seen videos and clips of it.
We'd seen, as we keep saying, we'd seen similar statistics from Shinji Kagawa, Henrik Mkhitaryan coming over 20 goals, 20 assists. You think, wow, but you can't always trust that.
And at Sporting, no disrespect, but the Portuguese league, it's a bit of an unknown entity because people say, well, he has a lot of shots from outside the box and they go in because the keepers aren't as good as they are over here, which is a bit of a joke in it when you see some of the standards of our goalkeeping.
Yeah, and you see like some of the best goalkeepers in England are Portuguese, like Rui Patricio and that. And there's good.
Makes no sense.
There's plenty of good Portuguese
Brexit type jingoism.
Yeah.
But yeah, he came in and that first game against Wolves, he was shouting at his teammates. He was telling them where to go. He was getting them to make runs. You can see this is a guy that belongs here. So he's come into this team, dominated it, and he's dominating games. And honestly, as soon as he comes on the pitch, you think we've got a fighting chance. Yeah, you always think that.
Another quote from him here as well. He's talking about his free kick, and he said, "I work a lot on these kind of goals, free kicks. I tried. This one was good." Let's not forget, we were 2 or 3 inches away from another free kick goal against Liverpool at the weekend as well. Eddie, before the free kick, told me, I try hard. I try a hard one.
No, try a hard one on the side of the keeper.
Excuse me.
Words. Use your words, as I say to my kids.
Yeah.
You can do this. Use your words. Go on.
I'll try a hard one on you in a minute, pal, if you're not careful. Not
Is it wrong that I saw that as some sort of sexual offer?
Yes. I tried hard. Sorry. Just brush the word hard out
We've
of my
broken
mind.
Joseph.
I tried and it went in. He did try. It did went in.
This is taking a whole new meaning now.
Eddie's asked him to try a hard one. And he's got my word, was it hard?
That's good though. Like,
Jay.
That's like, he told me, I'll just put it to that side of the keeper and, hit it hard. And I did, it went in. Like, it's not that easy that someone says to you, do you know what? Just kick that ball and score.
Yeah,
And I did it. He told me to do that and I did.
Yeah.
Like, no, 99% of footballers can't do what you've just done.
Yeah.
And against a very good goalkeeper as well. And he makes it look easier. And even that sort of attitude is, oh yeah, he told me to do it, so I did. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Very ridiculous, but, modesty. Welcome, Emil, to the membership for the first team. We've got some members on the videos coming out very soon, so stay tuned for that. Thank you. Burnsy as well with the super chat. We've got a few more super chats coming in. Pogba's defending has improved so much since Ole has been in charge. He's a bit of a powerhouse. He does seem definitely to embrace the defensive side of the game a bit more. Maybe that comes with, it shouldn't be the case, but and I'm not accusing Pogba of not trying up until now, but there has to be a sort of an added 5% that you just get given from the way we're playing at the minute, where it just feels like it must be easier to take that extra yard, that extra tackle, that extra block, because it's all for a bit more now, isn't it? There's a lot more on the line, and it brings out the best in good players, doesn't it? That
there is, and also, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this because you understand these sort of things better than me. But do you see Pogba playing more as a sort of box-to-box midfielder now than he perhaps has done in the past? Because he does seem to be both ends of the pitch doing a lot of good stuff. We saw it at Burnley and at Fulham. He's getting goals and he's involved on the edge of the 18-yard. We saw it against Wolves and against Villa where he's making tackles. We saw it tonight. He's in the area, clearing the ball. He seems like a real box-to-box, I don't know, an 8 or whatever you call it, like rather than someone who is primarily just sat in front of the defence trying to dictate from there. Or as when Ollie first came in, Pogba was like a number 10.
Yeah.
He just shoved him right up, didn't he? It was Matic, Herrera and Pogba, but those two were doing the donkey work, and he was just like Paul, just go up the other end of the pitch and score goals and penalties and all that. But now it does feel like you've got a real box-to-box Paul Pogba, and he seems to be relevant in that role.
He seems like the player that everyone has always been trying to tell us that he is, and I think he has done this before. But I would agree that this is defensively the best he's ever looked for Manchester United. I think he really does seem to be embracing that in, maybe part of that's fitness, maybe part of that's confidence, maybe part of that is the knowledge that he doesn't have to create all the chances because there are other people capable of doing that now. But whatever it is, he's been excellent, and he continued that today. We've got some more super chats. Carl Hagan, any idea why we try playing it out from the back for a goal kick? Surely when we have the lead, we should try to protect it and get the ball up the pitch. I think the way we try to protect it is by having possession. And a few times, it didn't quite work, did it, playing it out from the back? But I can see why we do it. Against Liverpool, it's probably the hardest team to play out of the back from because they do press so well. And at certain times, you do just think, just fucking kick it. But we don't really have anyone who can win those long ball headers either. So you kind of have to pick whether you want to be pressed hard from at the back or whether you want to try and win a header against Fabinho. Obviously, it worked out eventually today. B Love Pollock 76 says, this was my second favourite watch-along, only behind my first ever watch-along, which was this time last year being the Tranmere, hence getting or being Tranmered. Looking forward to Sheffield. Imagine that's your first ever watch-along, by the way.
We were
rather pissed watching that game.
Disgusting. Unprofessional.
Very unprofessional. That was on
the old... Love Pollock 76, loved it.
The old Stretford Paddock. And he's been here ever since. Abdullah
Baggers shouting out, it's coming
Ibrahim,
number 2.
With the super chat as well, another super chat. He said, what are your thoughts on Donny van der Beek? For me, he played his best football behind the strikers with Bruno there. I don't see him getting many minutes. And again, I don't want to focus on any negatives here because we've just beat Liverpool. We're through to the next round of the Cup. It's like Andy was saying, it's a huge knock on Liverpool's confidence that they were already struggling with. Imagine what a win today would have done for them. And it's another giant step forward in terms of confidence for Manchester United, the mentality that everyone keeps going on about. But Donny didn't do enough for you to go, he's got to play next week. I think I'm going to say when, we don't see him start midweek, I can't see too many complaints. I don't think he was bad by any means. I think he does certain things very well. He pops up in the right areas and plays short balls very well. But when you see Bruno come on and do what he does, when you see Pogba defending the way that he does, when you see the industry and just pure tenacity of Fred doing what he does, it is hard to see in a fully fit squad, in the biggest of games, quite what Van der Beek does better than others, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, me and you were talking on the watch-along before, and I was saying, for me, I don't think it's a case right now this season of Donny van der Beek convincing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer he's going to play instead of Bruno and Pogba. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it would have took an amazingly, ridiculously good performance tonight from Donny van der Beek for him to say, for Ole to think, right now, he's my main man ahead of those two. I think what Donny van der Beek has to do, and I think he did it, and I think he has done it, is show that Ole can trust him when the likes of Bruno and the likes of Paul Pogba aren't available or when he needs to rest them. And I think he's done that. I think he doesn't have to give you a 9 or a 10 out of 10 performance. He has to give you a 7 or an 8 where you can go, that is a very good footballer that if I'm looking to rest Paul Pogba or if Bruno's carrying a little bit of a niggle, I don't need to worry about it. Or even if it is maybe a McTominay or Fred, I can mix it up a bit. And I think he does that. I think he gives you a solid enough performance where you can go, yeah, he's good enough. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be one where you go, fucking hell, he's amazing, right? Sorry, Paul, you're out now, son. It's just good enough where you go, Donny's an option. And I think he's doing that. And obviously, long term, the kid's going to be here for a long time. Paul Pogba, it pains me to say it, I think we need to face fucking facts. He's going in the summer. Donny van der Beek should be saying to the manager in the summer, listen, yes, you might bring in a midfielder or whatever, but I can fill that Paul Pogba-shaped hole in the midfield.
And exactly. And he doesn't need to be the first name on the team sheet to be a crucial part of the squad. There seems to be this misconception that if you aren't playing every single week, you're shit. And the manager doesn't want you there, and you're going to get loaned out. Like, there are plenty of players who their job is to get 30 appearances. I think it's his 24th appearance this season. He's going to get 30, maybe 40 appearances.
That's
this
ridiculous,
year.
by the way. 24 appearances. We're only fucking halfway through the season.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a very good player who has a very particular role at Manchester United, and he just played 65 minutes when United beat Liverpool in the Cup. Like, he's got a very good future at Manchester United, and like I keep saying, one of the reasons we're doing so well this season, and I hate to say it because as someone who's very big on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think he's done an incredible job. What is the biggest difference between this season and last season? Personnel. And that is Bruno Fernandes, that is Paul Pogba not being injured for 9 months, that is Marcus Rashford not breaking his back, that is Martial not being out for 2 months. We've barely had an injury this season. We've seen Marcus Rashford go off today, worryingly. But the fact that we haven't had anyone injured and Bruno's still got 22, 23 appearances, he'll play every week if Pogba gets injured or Bruno gets injured or whoever. We have to be lucky with injuries, and there's no shame in saying that we've had very good luck that other teams haven't had. But he's going to get a lot of games, and I don't think we need to worry about that. That's a big win, that, isn't it?
It is a big win.
Try and be all professional and have proper chats and that, but sometimes you just want to scream. Brian Kevill has said, would Donny have made the 91 Cup winners team, Jay?
I think if you look player for player, I know he's a different type of player. Maybe you'd have him over Mickey Phelan. Perhaps. I know Mickey was a bit more defensive, but I think didn't move him over to right back for that game. He wasn't getting ahead of him, and he certainly wasn't getting ahead of Brian Robson. I think, is it of Nikhil Prakash? Have you read that one?
Yeah, well, that's coming up next.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, he might have made the bench.
Might squeeze it in. Nikhil Prakash with the super chat says, I think Rashford injured his knee when he collided with Fabinho on the sideline. He landed with his right knee on the curb at the end of the slope. Now, as stupid as this may sound, hopefully it is a collision or an impact injury rather than an internal twist or something like that. Because if he's banged up his knee and it's heavily bruised and might be out for 10 days or something, obviously we all know internal injuries can be season enders. So hopefully it's nothing like that. Which
it took the piss out as well, because Fabinho keeps his leg up. Marcus gets thrown into the audience, and then Fabinho was moaning about it, like he'd been hard done by and kicking off. And I was just, he never stopped whinging, did he?
No, never stopped. We've got some quotes from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now coming up on the screen. He's talked about Cavani, saying he was immense, leading the line, creating chances, a header hit the post. He's been such an addition to the team. That's great, isn't it? Because I wasn't sure about Cavani, I'll be honest.
No, well, I wasn't.
He's not, like I said it before as a suggestion of his motivations, but he's not really been first choice striker for PSG for a while. And let's be honest, PSG are fine. They're a very good team, but they're in a league that they win every year with their hands tied behind their back. I was worried that Cavani maybe passed it a little bit. He wouldn't have the energy. Players that a lot of their game is built around energy and work rate don't always last. We've seen it with Wayne Rooney. We've seen it with other players where sometimes you run out of that steam when you approach 33. But he seems to have everything he's ever had, and he's massively improved our front line, hasn't he?
100%. And I think he's probably reveling in the fact that there's a case that he's the main man now, attacking wise. Because you were talking about it when we were on the watch along. Going back to his early days at Uruguay, he was out on the right wing when it was the likes of Diego Forlan and Luis Suarez who were the main men. You look at his time in PSG, there was a time when it was Zlatan, then it was Mbappe, and then it was Neymar. He was sort of the one who was moved around, dropped, or not always dropped, he usually played. But, you look at, even when we played him in the Champions League, he didn't come on till, the 89th minute.
Like I said,
Do you know what I mean? It was like, he was like the
fighting for a goal in the Champions League final. They bring Choupo-Moting on.
That's what I mean. So he's sort of coming in now, given the number 7 shirt, given a lot of responsibility, and people probably looking at it now. And I think on form as well and performances, he's probably leapfrogged over Anthony Martial. I don't want to be too melodramatic because I know Martial had a great season last season, but certainly at the moment, I think if you had to pick your strongest 11, you're probably going to go with Cavani as your main striker.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that, and that shouldn't be anything other than obvious. And
you say that though, mate, but
there's no
people will
harm in
dispute it.
saying that Cavani's been excellent and
No.
he's been a more effective number 9 when he's been there than anyone else.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any harm in that. We've got over 5,000 watching. Let's see if we can get 2,000 likes. That would massively help us. So please do like the video. Do we have another quote from Ollie at all? I think we may have another one coming up.
Have we got none from Klopp, or was he just sulked off
that's
into
what
the
I'd like.
corner? And
Yeah, we mentioned it before, talking about Rashford. His knee was bothering him. Scan tomorrow and see where we are. Bothering him is a strange term to use because that's like a wasp bothers you at a picnic. But if he's done his cruciate, then that's more than a bit of bother, isn't it? So
it
do you read
sounds to
anything
me
into
like it's something like a pensioner would say.
Yeah.
How's it going, Mildred? Oh, well, my knee's been bothering me. And,
you know what it's like.
The post is always late, but I don't like to complain.
Yeah.
I mean, that's neither here nor there. We don't know what that means.
Yeah.
He has to have a scan. As you were saying, hopefully, because it's an impact injury, it isn't as bad as a twist or whatever, and he can be at least fit for next weekend. But we'll have to wait and see, because he was, like I said earlier, he was fantastic tonight. He was everything that we know Marcus Rashford could do. He did it, and he did it well.
Yeah, he did. Jack Kirkland with the super chat says Bruno scored a pen from outside the box. Insane. It is insane, isn't it? The way Bruno just stuck that in like it was nothing. Oh, actually, sorry. It was Cavani that told him what to do. He said, stick it in goalkeeper side, and he did it. Like you said. Like that's
that's
dead
it.
easy.
Do you know what I mean? Just scored a winner by doing that, what I've just told you.
Yeah. We've got a quote from Bruno Fernandes. Another one he said, a lot. It is a dream come true to play for this club in the Premier League. Now, I assume what they've said to him there is, how much money have you made since you arrived? A lot. I don't know what the context of that
they've
is.
said to him, how much do you hate Scousers?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That was the preamble to that. The question there. It's a dream to come true to play for this club in the Premier League. Now, it wasn't in the Premier League, so unless this quote's 4 days old, you kind of question what he means by that. But I suppose playing in another country in another league, he has been amazing, and we don't need to talk about Bruno Fernandes. We've addressed his brilliance.
We could talk about him, but
We
we'd
could
be here
talk
all
about
day,
him all day
because
long.
he's that fucking good.
Exactly.
You can never tire of talking about Bruno.
Yes, and speaking of being here all day, we've got plenty more coming as well. We've got fan cams,
Howson.
we've got Howson's
Macola.
review, we've got Macola's review,
Andy
we've got Andy Tate on there as well. We've got 7 reasons why Manchester United beat Liverpool coming out tomorrow morning. All sorts of fallout from the game. Keep an eye on the Klopp quotes, because I'm sure they're going to be very exciting whenever they come out, and maybe they already have. But Manchester United have beat Liverpool 3-2 in the FA Cup to reach the 5th round. Only the second time of beating Liverpool in 11 times of asking. I think it's 1 win in 6 or 1 win in 7 for Liverpool now. United are, 18 games or something unbeaten? If you take the League Cup and the Champions League out of it.
They don't count.
They don't even count. But Man United have won.
Domestically?
Yeah.
Oh, no, not even domestic, because the League Cup.
Yeah, shut up, Jake.
Yeah, sorry. In competitions that existed before 1950.
Very good,
Apart from the
Jay.
Premier League.
Yeah. But yeah, a brilliant performance from Manchester United. 3-2 against Liverpool. Thank you very much for joining me for the review. Thank you to everyone for joining us at home for the watch along and for the review. Make sure you like the video. We're through to the 5th round. A huge confidence booster for Manchester United. A real kick in the teeth for Liverpool, and we don't mind saying that. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you in a bit.